Part 62. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 611. Itchy Nose, XN. Realizing that all the archangels in their class had brought up the topic, the students began to look for the person who had pledged to sacrifice his companions in exchange for points. But this person? No need to look for it. A boy with slightly curly purple hair sitting on the seat said. My vote was yes. My idea is that if I can bring 500 points to the class by dropping out, then I am willing to do so. Everyone looked at the boy. This boy is none other than Kanzaki-san. Kanzaki-kun, please don't say that, the other students said quickly. And Itchy Nose breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed like a false alarm. I thought some classmates wanted to sacrifice their companions, but it turned out that Kanzaki-san volunteered to sacrifice himself. The cohesion of Class B is still no problem. In this way, Kanzaki Ryaji-san is still very strong. When the selection was repeated for the second time, Class B also reached 40 votes against exchanging companions for 500 points. But when we arrived in Class D, everything changed. The reason is simple. Chibashira-sensei, are you okay? Before the fifth question started, Chibashira-sensei's state was not right. She seemed to be in a daze today. After everyone's reminder, she started to click on the screen, and then started to choose the fifth question. But when they saw the choice for the fifth question, everyone understood why teacher Chibashira was shaken. Because what the hell is this topic? If the students in the class are compared with 20 million, then someone must choose 20 million. But now it's the classmates and 500 points, which is a good thing that everyone gets private points worth 50,000 every month. What you have to do is sacrifice a classmate, but then you will have 50,000 private points for living expenses every month. It is for everyone's complete benefit. Not to mention the third question above, they already have to bear the living expenses shared equally by the 5 students who were the worst in the written test. But now it's direct, 500 points, living expenses worth 50,000 per month. And now here is the extremely poor Class D. Teacher. And almost as soon as he saw this topic, Hirata-san couldn't sit still. Please take the test now. However, a voice came over at this time. Only then did everyone realize that at some point, there was an invigilator standing at the end of the classroom. Probably the seat assistant conducts the exam. And now he is also criticizing Hirata-san. Because according to the rules of the exam, everyone voted anonymously, and who voted for what would not be announced, and they also refused to talk before the intermission. This. Hirata-san had no choice but to sit down. P.S. I finally replaced my old Asus computer with a Xiaolong 16K computer, so let's update the 16K version. Also, don't buy Xiaolong 16K. The current experience is not very good and the network is constantly disconnected. It is very troublesome to enter the system settings when booting at the same time. Hate Win 11. And Microsoft's Office software verification is also very troublesome. P.S. There are still 20,000 to 40,000 words left. Ha 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 ha. Chapter 287 ends. Chibashira Sensei's memories. New mission triggered. 4K. Because of the invigilator's order, Hirata-san had to sit down. For a good old guy like him, he couldn't accept his classmates' withdrawal. The deeper reason is his past. In the past, because he failed to save a friend who was being bullied, his friend attempted suicide, and this incident became a heartache for him. So he vowed never to ignore others' requests for help again. Then he also became more concerned about his companions. That's why he reacted so strongly to Yamauchi's withdrawal from school when the class voted to drop out. He himself knew that he was sick and mentally ill. But now, I don't want this kind of thing to happen again, because Hirata-san knows very well how poor the current classmates are, and how likely they are to choose the most horrific outcome. If possible, he also hopes to bring living expenses to everyone. But using your companions to offer sacrifices to heaven or something like that will cause problems. Certainly. If it were him before, he might have said, if you must do this, then drop me out of school. But now such words can no longer be said. Because he now has Ayanokaji's classmate who knows him, and he hopes to protect him, so he cannot fall down here. In this way, Hirata-san just needs to control himself. And time passes. Although I was very surprised when faced with the options. But the 1 minute has ended. It's time to announce the results, the teacher who invigilated the exam said. At this time, Chibashira-sensei seemed to have just come to his senses. Then she clicked on the screen that served as a blackboard. Then notice. Result. Regarding the option of withdrawing a classmate and exchanging 500 class evaluation points. The number of people who chose to agree is 29. The number of people who chose to oppose is 10. Judging from the number of people, there are many people who choose to offer sacrifices to the heaven as companions. So, because the whole audience is inconsistent, it's time for halftime, teacher Chibashira announced with a look of embarrassment on his face. Really? Chibashira-sensei was in a very bad state today. I originally thought it was related to the content of the exam. But now it seems that is not the case. And this is what Kuruzawa and the others think. Because Oreki-san reminded them before that they could invite Chibashira-sensei as a dark horse during the cultural festival. It's unexpected. It seems that Hospi thought for a while and felt that this suggestion was feasible. Because if it was Chibashira-sensei, then they would definitely want to contact him. After all, the cold female teacher's true identity is that of a maid in a maid cafe. Isn't this interesting? However, teacher Chibashira has not yet convinced the other party to agree to participate in the role in the maid cafe, and now he is facing such an exam. This kind of exam. And their unanimous actions were all, choosing to agree. Yes. Their choice was to agree rather than oppose. This was the group choice at the beginning, and they all chose the first option. So it's not true. But now, because the options are different, the class has entered the time for discussion. At this time, Hirata-san finally had no one to stop him. Everyone, Hirata-san said. Please listen to me. Hirata-san stood up. I don't think I can choose to drop out of my class. Because, first of all, we are a group, and then no matter who we are, it is extremely important, Hirata said. Yes, Chi Kwanzi said at this time. Why do you do such a cruel thing? He seemed to strongly support Hirata. But who is Hirata? Although he is a good guy, Hirata's IQ is not low, because he probably understands that Kai's current strong behavior is actually for self-protection. Because once students choose to drop out of school, one student will drop out of school. Then he may be at the bottom in all aspects. Although he has camping skills, he was completely useless in the uninhabited island exams last year and this year. So, in addition, sports are also poor, and academic ability is also poor. Then isn't it possible that according to everyone's thinking, the key people who are holding back students can be screened out? So, classmate Chi immediately launched a self-rescue. This is completely different from when Yamauchi was blamed. Yes, Yudu-san also said at this time. Why do you do this? Although it's not enough for daily living expenses, it's still enough. Would you like to drop out of school in exchange for points in the next exam? Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 612. Sooner or later it will happen to me, Syudu said. This statement seems to be analyzing the big disadvantages of doing so. But Hirata also knew it very well. This is because although Syudu's performance has become better, he has a bad temper, so there are many people who are dissatisfied with him. And in the last class vote to drop out of the exam, Houtarou was also among the bottom 3 in terms of critical votes. So, if the students really choose a classmate to worship God and get a class evaluation score of 500 points, he will become dangerous. Yes, it's dangerous. Although Houtarou's physical fitness is very good, he has also contributed to everyone in sports events. But this is an anonymous vote. And there are many people who hate him. What if someone really wants to vote for him? Kushida-san, what do you think? At this time, Hirata rescued a person of the same type as him. And this person is a blonde girl with a very delicate and cute face. My hair was originally short, but it has been extended since last semester. Increases her cuteness by 30%. Is it just that Hirata turned to Kushida-san for help at this time? You know, in the previous 2 exams, Kushida-san was scolded by Horikita Suzun until she cried. He also said that since you know that you have such energy, then don't mess around. If you bring trouble to the class, then you are a sinner. Therefore, Kushida-san will almost never speak on such important occasions again. And now Hirata said this. Kushida-san noticed that many classmates were paying attention to her. A situation where a classmate is sacrificed in exchange for 500 class evaluation points. Of course it's worth it. Because, are the students in the class worthy of a 500-point class evaluation score? What is the concept of 500 points? A person can get 50,000 yuan a month, and then in the next year or so, which is close to 2 years of schooling, it will be worth more than 1 million yuan. For 39 students, it is equivalent to more than 40 million yuan in living expenses. And in this case, who can refuse? Certainly. Kushida-san can refuse. Because she now has Oreki-san, she is actually not short of money. Oreki will give it anyway. But it is impossible to say this in class. And, although it is reasonable to sacrifice a useless classmate to the sky in exchange for points, it is not convenient to reveal it when everyone is paying attention. If you say no, then you will be dissatisfied by some students who want points, and if you agree, you will be resented by the poor students. I think, this kind of choice is very painful. What do you think, Horikita-san? Kushida-san was watched by everyone, but she did not express her stance directly. Instead, he threw the ball to Horikita Suzun. This move was like Yamauchi throwing the blame to Chi Kwanji. But no one thinks so now. And Horikita-san was named. If you ask me about my attitude, Horikita Suzun said, I voted in favor. Should I say that she deserves to be Suzun Horikita? To put it bluntly, is she going to sacrifice her classmates to heaven in exchange for 500 points? And this kind of thing will be resented. He is resented by those who are worried about being kicked out of school. But Horikita Suzun showed no fear. Although she doesn't want to admit it, Kushida-san knows that Horikita Suzun is indeed unique and looks the same, which makes her a little envious. But this time, everyone, Teacher Chibashira, who had been waiting for the students to discuss, said, half-time is over. Does this mean we should continue to vote? Then all the students began to return to their seats. Then pick up your tablet. Probably because there is no unified opinion. So the voting result this time is still the same. There are still people who choose both directions. 20 people chose to drop out a classmate in exchange for 500 points. There were 19 people who opposed dropping out a classmate in exchange for 500 points. Although Horikita Suzun didn't have time to explain her reasons. But it seems that the selection has changed. But only Horikita Suzun and Kushida-san knew that there were still many people who wanted to sacrifice their classmates to heaven. Although it seems that the number of people willing to sacrifice their companions to heaven has decreased. But it was a few of them who joined together and voted against it. In other words, Half of the students in this class are very realistic. As long as you are not the one who drops out, but it can increase your own interests, then it is normal to sacrifice a classmate. After all, reality sacrificed Yamauchi before, so who thinks of Yamauchi or even wants to speak for Yamauchi until now? Especially. This is Class D. There are indeed some people who hate it. Certainly. Some people were panicked. In addition to Sudoku Kanji and others who felt uneasy in various aspects, there were also some people who felt uneasy. That's a girl. But Sakura-san is not a weakling. It was the person who once spread the rumors about Horikita Suzune. Although Horikita Suzune did not pursue it, who knows whether he will be sacrificed to heaven at this time. In this way, a small number of students are worried about being dropped out of school, while most students want points. It should be said that he is worthy of being in Class D. Probably because the exam ended early, Oreki-san left his class and went outside the corridor of Class D. But he didn't go in to disturb them. It's better to say that Class D was still taking exams, so he couldn't go in at this time. But the object of his attention is Chibashira-sensei. From Megami and the others, they learned that Chibashira-sensei was acting strangely. Teacher Mashima also discovered that the teachers seemed to have a great reaction to this special examination. Then, reminiscent of the fact that during the exam on the uninhabited island, I learned from teacher Chie Hashinomiya that they were all students in Class D and then climbed up the ladder. As a result, at the last critical moment, we were less than 400 points away from Class A in the voting exit exam at that time. The reward was to kick out a classmate, and you would get 300 points. It can be said that we are only one step away from Class A. Then they also failed at this juncture. Because the class representative at the time chose to withdraw from school, however, Chibashira objected and continued to oppose it. Then the opportunity to gain 300 additional points failed. At the same time, the next exam is worth only 50 points. So there is an absolute gap with Class A. It was a pity that I finally graduated. That is to say, Chibashira-sensei is looking back on the past. And that may be the case now. Although Chibashira-sensei looks relieved, now that he is reliving the past like a nightmare, his heart will definitely be shaken. Only, Class D's choice is really realistic. Half of the students hope to sacrifice another classmate to become rich. There's just no way around it. Because there is no one in their class who must be protected, rather, there are quite a few people who can be sacrificed. Oreki or Ichino's class was worried that sacrificing their classmates would cause instability, which would be detrimental to the class, and they couldn't do such a worthless thing. But this is a situation where they are not missing out. And for Class D who is crazy about poverty, this opportunity. If you only need to sacrifice one classmate, you can get a reward of 500 points. 50,000 monthly living expenses. This is a great temptation. Zifiuan knows the joy of fish. So, if you are not a student in Class D, you don't have to eat free unpalatable vegetable meals, you don't have to face the ridicule of others to get free daily necessities, and you live in the eyes of others who look down upon you, then you can't understand why you care so much about points. Desire it? In this way. From Oreki-san's point of view, if he is a student of Class D, then his answer is only. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 613. Drop a classmate from school. Achieve common prosperity. Because the answers from the audience were inconsistent, we said we should continue with the intermission. Chibashira-sensei continued to announce. She was indeed not in a good condition, her face was a little pale, and she seemed to be recalling the uncomfortable past. So what was it like in the past? Is it really like what Hoshinomiya Yachiye said, and then let Hoshinomiya Yachiye look like the plus version of Oreki Kushida-san, deliberately making friends with Chibashira, but at the same time hating each other? And when I think about it, drop. Oreki-san suddenly heard the system's beep. Congratulations to the host for embarking on a special branch mission. When faced with a choice in the special examination, everyone unanimously chose the exam. Task requirement: assist Class B of the 3rd grade in completing the unanimous exam. Mission period: 3 days. Mission reward: traveling through time. Remarks: because this is a special mission, we will first give the host a brief experience of the special ability to travel through time and space. Oreki: good guy, is this mission coming now? And isn't the ability to travel through time and space something you've been waiting for? And thinking about it? Do you choose to accept the mission? Of course, I went. P.S. There are still 20,000 words left. I may have to go to bed at 2 o'clock tonight, woo woo woo. The next chapter is the assessment 9 years ago. The whole audience dropped out unanimously. Only one step away from Class A. 20K. Chapter 288: Traveling Through Time and Space. My wife was so cute when she was a child. Because of Kosake Inaga's poor health, even if they dated, they became the date. But Oreki couldn't do anything excessive to her. It's better to restrain or even prevent her from doing something excessive. As a little Tyrannosaurus Rex, Sake Inaga's attack power is obvious to all. As a boyfriend, Oreki has been thinking about how he can help the other person. Sake Inaga's poor health is due to heart problems. Among them, according to the normal process, Sake Inaga's body was caused by heart. Although it was difficult to treat in the past, in the future, when we grow up, with the advancement of science and technology, there may be a way to cure it. For some heart problems, the body cannot withstand surgery when the person is still too young, so the surgery may need to wait until junior high or high school. But Oreki-san doesn't choose either one. After all, he has been selected to gain superpowers, so what kind of man is he to let the mother of his child endure the pain of surgery? So, I choose to accept the mission. Oreki-san directly chooses the mission. When I had precognitive dreams before, there was no reward even though I completed the task. But he learned that Sakayanagi Yuzu might be able to be cured if he gained the ability to travel through time and space. According to Oreki-san's observation, Sakayanagi Yuzu seems to be unhappy recently. Therefore, it is necessary for him to take action. Oreki left the corridor and came to the corner where there was no camera. Drop. And almost when Oreki-san made his choice, the air in the space in front of him seemed to be distorted. However, it gives people a quite different feeling. Because a new scene appeared before his eyes. How should I put it? It seemed to be in a student dormitory, but this student dormitory was larger than the one he was familiar with. If an ordinary dormitory is about a dozen square meters, this one now has more than 20 square meters. And Oreki, I'm going to take a shower first. Please wait a moment. A strange boy with a hedgehog head appeared in front of Oreki-san. Although the other party called his name correctly. But Oreki-san was a little confused. Because he doesn't know the other person. So, have you traveled through time and space? Oreki-san thought to himself. System. Oreki called up the system. When faced with a choice in the special examination, everyone unanimously chose the exam. Task requirement: assist Class B of the 3rd grade in completing the unanimous exam. Mission period: 3 days. Mission reward: traveling through time. Remarks: because this is a special mission, we will first give the host a brief experience of the special ability to travel through time and space. Note 2, it has been confirmed that we have arrived at our destination, Yuchin High School 9 years ago. Note 3, Due to the time travel, the identity of the host is defaulted, but it will cause a butterfly effect when leaving. Note 4, the current identity of the host is an ordinary boy with a low sense of presence in Class B of the 3rd grade. His name is still Oreki Houtarou, but after the host completes the mission, it will be blurred. Remarks, I am currently staying with my roommate Midori, who is also in Class B of the 3rd grade. Is it? The name of the boy with the hedgehog head is Midoriya, and he is also his roommate. However, Midorita-san went to the bathroom now, and Oreki-san thought for a moment. Do you want to use teleportation? Yes. Although my mission here is to complete the unanimous special examination of this era, I didn't say that I couldn't do other things. Yes. There is only one thing Oreki-san wants to do, and that is to cure Sakayanagi Yuzu. Now it was 9 years ago, so that means that although Sakayanagi is still young now, he still exists. So, you can go check on her first. In this way. Drop. Do you want to use teleportation? Yes. Oreki-san's teleportation has 2 limitations, one of which is the place he has been to, and the other is the place he has seen in the photo. After seeing the photos, it's time to go. But where to go now? You know, this was 9 years ago. So, is teleportation still effective? Oreki-san thought so. Go to Sakayanagi Arasu's side? And thinking like this. But he wasn't sure because he didn't have any photos of Sakayanagi Arasu in the current era. So. However, just as he was thinking this, Oreki-san noticed that the space in front of him was distorted. And he was very familiar with this state. This is how he usually uses teleportation. Looking forward, he saw a little girl with short silver hair who was probably 8 or 9 years old. The other person is pretty and looks quite cute. Especially the snow-white skin and clear pupils. As for this little girl, Oreki would never admit her mistake. Because this is Sakayanagi Arasu. Arasu Sakayanagi as a child. Oreki. Is this okay? Because his superpower goes to places he has been before. And now, the place to go is. There is a place for Sakayanagi to live. This is a courtyard, and among the comfortable green plants and flowers, Oreki-san saw Kosaka-lu. Who are you? Even though Kosaka-yanagi Arasu has been in poor health since he was a child, he already holds the cane in his left hand. She is now sitting on one side of the flower bed. Then he stared at the handsome young man with green eyes and short black hair who suddenly appeared in front of him. It will actually change into a living person, the other party said. Oreki-san immediately understood that Kosaka-yanagi must have seen him appear out of thin air. Yes. Teleportation has this drawback, however. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 614. It was because he was using teleportation to search for Sakayanagi Arasu. As long as the other party was not asleep, he would definitely be able to see him. I am Houtarou Oreki, Oreki-san said. Come here specifically to cure your heart condition. This statement seems to be telling the truth. In fact, it's really true. Oh, Kosaka-lu blinked softly. I don't know if she believed it or not. But I probably didn't believe it, but it was quite cute that he didn't immediately call the adults when he discovered that he had changed into a living person. Then big brother, please give me a show, Kosaka-yanagi Yuzu said. As expected of his wife, she is quite smart. After all, if she doesn't do anything or prove it, she will definitely scream later. So this is a test for him. And treating her heart disease is probably not possible. Because Kosaka-yanagi is now holding a cane, it is said that he has been suffering from heart disease for several years. Even if Oreki's recovery ability is improved, it can only recover the problems that occurred in 2 weeks. So the real treatment plan is to use teleportation and then travel back to the time when Sakayanaga's mother was just 2 weeks pregnant with Arasu. Deal with the other person's physical illness at its source. But, are you injured? Oreki-san noticed her left knee. She wore a little princess dress and white stockings. But the white stockings on the left knee were dirty and covered with gray sand. And judging from the appearance of the stockings, they seemed to be scratched inside, with a little blood. This Kosake Inaga said. When I was walking with the cane, I didn't walk steadily. So I fell. My body is very weak, so I walked too fast. Is it? Only then did Oreki notice that Sake Inaga's left hand was also covered with some dirt. Fortunately, the little hand was not injured. But this must be because she stood up on her own after falling. And now he is also outspoken about his status. This reminded Oreki-san of the scene in high school when Yuzusaka Yanagi was hit by Yamauchi during the forest exam. At that time, Kosake Inaga was strong enough to stand up on his own. It shows that she is a person who values self-esteem very much. And now, although she is small, she does not feel any shame or negative emotions about her body. This is very admirable. Then to confirm what I said, Oreki-san said. Can you shake my hand now? Kosake Inaga blinked lightly. Brother, are you sure you're not a lolicon? Kosake Inaga said. And this rhetoric is very offensive. Oreki. Of course, well, it can't be completely denied. After all, one of the future mothers has the body shape of a girl. And it hasn't changed in 10 years. Then look at this state. Oreki-san thought for a moment and took out a point card from his pocket. This point card contains 10 million points which he transferred in casually yesterday and was planning to consider when to hand the point card to Tian's Jr. Follow the progress in the foreknowledge of dreams. Amasawa's junior classmate dropped out of school earlier than Saka Yanagi. After dropping out of school, I took care of my children alone for 10 years. Even if you don't know about this kind of thing, now that you know it, Oreki-san must do something. So what we can do now is to use points, that is, money, to make up for and support the opponent. In other words, the point card he has now is worth 10 million. Then, click. Oreki-san broke the 10 million into two halves in front of Kosake Inaga. Recover, but the next second, Oreki-san put the scorecards that were divided into two halves together. A miracle happened. The two broken cards in his palm merged instantly. Then, Oreki-san showed the fully restored point card. What an incredible magic trick! Kosake Inaga clapped his hands gently. Then since Mr. Magician, you want to shake hands with me so hard, then let me shake your hands for now. For it. In other words, she just thought Oreki-san was performing a magic trick. But even performing magic means being willing to put in the work. So, be a little more tolerant. In this way, Oreki-san still extended his left hand to Sakayanagi Yuzu. But Kosake Inaga didn't hesitate, probably as a reward for this handsome big brother's magic. She put her little hand up. Oreki held her. This is a wonderful feeling. He held hands with Sakayanagi not just once, but now Kosake Inaga, how should I put it, seems to be even more exciting. But, do you want to use the ability to recover? The system's functions were immediately brought out. Yes. Of course Oreki-san didn't hesitate. Moment. Kosake Inaga's expression changed. She obviously looks quite mature and cute, but now her eyes are slightly widened. Because she felt it? She felt a warm current sliding through her body. Not only that, in fact, when she fell, her knees hurt a little when she stood up. But now it's unbelievable. Not only did the pain go away all of a sudden, but, my body felt much lighter. I didn't lie to you. Oreki-san said. So Kosake Inaga was sent back to her original chair. My current ability is not enough, so please give me some more time, Oreki said. Kosakalu. As a smart and talented girl, She has already recognized that the handsome boy in front of her is leaving. "Can we still meet?" she asked. Of course Oreki turned around and said. "One day in the not too distant future, we will meet at the High School of Education." "Is it?" Kosakalu then stared at the boy with green pupils. Until the other party's figure disappears from the sky. Just as it suddenly appeared, it now disappears suddenly. If this is magic, then it is indeed amazing, Kosake Anaga thought in his mind. And the other side. "Sorry, Arisu," a man in a suit and leather shoes jogged over from a distance. The other person also has silver white hair and wears a pair of glasses. He looks quite elegant and has a scholarly air. "Be a gentleman." But he is also Sakayanagi Yuzu's father. "It's been a long time coming," Sakayanaga's father said. No, however, Xiaoyuki seemed quite well behaved. "I wasn't bored just now. There was a big brother chatting with me." But Sakayanaga's father tilted his head. "Because this is their courtyard, how could anyone come in?" Oh. He understood that his lovely and smart daughter must have said this deliberately because she was afraid that he would feel guilty. "It seems that my daughter is not only a genius, but also very considerate." "Then let's go," Sakayanaga's father said. "I received permission from Mr. Ayanokaji to visit the White House." "Is the White Room the place where ordinary people are trained to become geniuses?" Kosakayanagi said. "That's right. Those people are different from you, Arisu. You are a real genius," Sakayanaga's father said. "And now we're going to visit. This is a relatively rare opportunity. Mr. Ayanokaji will not let go easily. And there are pretty good people there." "Is it?" But Arisu looked at his father. She felt that false geniuses needed to be buried. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 615. Only. This seems less important now. "Father, are you going to take over the position of chairman of Grandpa's incubation high school?" Kosakayanagi said. Sakayanaga's father was slightly stunned. "Yes, but this matter has just been confirmed." "How did you know?" "Guess," Sakayanagi Yuzu said. "Suddenly I felt that it was no longer my hallucination. But, maybe one day I can really meet that handsome big brother. I mean, boys should look like that. Be delicate and handsome. Also, the collarbone looks great. It would be great if we meet again in the future at Yosei High School." And the other side. Oreki-san has returned to the school dormitory. And this is the Kyosei High School 9 years ago. Oreki-san's presence here is very low, but the requirement of the task is, to assist in completing the exam unanimously. So, the mission has just begun. Pie a friend's book. Honkai comparison, Fire Chaser Moth is sour and crying. Luya traveled through the civilization before the collapse of the world, trying his best to change the outcome of this era. Just before the end of the confrontation, parallel world comparison videos appeared inexplicably in both worlds. The world next door was falling into despair due to collapse, and I was instantly dumbfounded. Sakura, if he was here, wouldn't Ling die? Kevin, can this war be won without so many sacrifices? Alicia, I see. For everything, just trust him and everything will be fine. Mebius, hashtag @%*U0026. Emotional. And the world on our own side is rejoicing. They looked at the world next door that was on the verge of destruction, and then at the still prosperous human civilization on their side. As well as the genetic ascension plan, spiritual awakening plan, and cradle plan that emerged to ensure the continuation of humankind. Thanks to Luya's existence, our world can still be so beautiful. Chapter 289 Kushida-san's plus version and Horikita Suzun's plus version. After Oreki-san returned to the dormitory, Oreki-san looked at the dormitory. Although it is a bit bigger, it is also suitable for 2 people to live in. However, it still looks very futuristic. When I came back now, Midorita-san was still taking a shower in the bathroom. The sound of water can be heard. They are all boys, so Oreki-san is definitely not interested. So, Oreki-san called up the system mission. When faced with a choice in the special examination, everyone unanimously chose the exam. Task requirement: assist Class B of the 3rd grade in completing the unanimous exam. Mission period: 3 days. Mission reward: traveling through time. Remarks: because this is a special mission, we will first give the host a brief experience of the special ability to travel through time and space. Note 2, it has been confirmed that we have arrived at our destination, Yuchin High School 9 years ago. Note 3, due to the time travel, the identity of the host is defaulted, but it will cause a butterfly effect when leaving. Note 4, the current identity of the host is an ordinary boy with a low sense of presence in Class B of the 3rd grade. His name is still Oreki Houtarou, but after the host completes the mission, it will be blurred. Remarks: I am currently staying with my roommate Midori, who is also in Class B of the 3rd grade. This is the specific current situation. But Oreki-san was waiting aside for about 10 minutes. Midorita-san finally came out. "It's really comfortable to wash," said the student from Midorita. "Oreki, do you want to go in now?" I'm sorry, I've run out of hot water," Midorita-san said. "It looks a little cheerful." "Sorry, I have to check my phone now. My classmates seem to be looking for me." With that said, Midorita-san opened his phone in front of Oreki-san. And sure enough, in the chat list, many people at him. There seemed to be something he needed to adjust. And some people invite him, some people have emotional problems, some people have learning problems, or even quarrels with others, etc. All kinds of problems come to him. In other words, the students in this class are from Chibashira-sensei's class. And Hashinomi Yachiya is Kusita-san's plus version, and Chibashira is Horikita-san's plus version. It turns out that Midorita-san is also Hirata-san's plus version. Oreki-san's mood is a little complicated. Then let's get some information from this Midorita-san. So Oreki-san waited for his opponent to be free. Then half an hour later. An hour later. "Sorry, I have to go out now," Midorita said. There was a classmate who was heartbroken and wanted to be comforted. So Midorita-san went out. Yes, it is. If it's Hirata's plus version, it's indeed very busy. So Oreki-san had to collect information by himself. It was 9 years ago now, and Yuchin High School was still Yuchin High School, but it was much behind in terms of various equipment. For example, there is no room card, but a key is used. However, there have not been much changes in mobile point cards and private point accounts. Oreki-san also clicked on his private account to show his presence in the system of this era. Name: Houtarou Oreki. Class: Class B, Grade 3. Note: promoted from Class D. Private account: 50,004 points. It should be said that he is worthy of being in Class B. According to Hashinomi Yachiya, their Class B climbed up from Class D. Oreki-san also observed Midorita-san just now. This Midorita-san is probably the representative of the class. So the situation is generally confirmed. Although there are a lot of things going on in the class, they are not as exaggerated as Class D in Oreki's time. In other words, Class D here is actually a high-end version, so it can be promoted to so many positions. And now Midorita-san can still manage the emotional problems of his classmates, which means that the special exam that everyone unanimously selected has not yet started. Think so? Oreki-san took the key and walked out. Hope to collect more information. Because his task is to assist Class B of the 3rd grade in completing the special examination, he naturally has to obtain some information about the students of Class B of the 3rd grade. Isn't this Oreki-san? However, by chance, he walked into the elevator and the girl in the elevator took the initiative to say hello to him. Oreki. So why did the mission that only appeared after seeing Chibashira-sensei turn into seeing Hashinomi Yachie? But does Hashinomi Yachie feel like this? What appeared in front of Oreki now was a cute girl with slightly fluffy short hair. And she probably knew that she was quite cute, so she showed a cute smile with dimples. This is the Palace of Stars, probably in the shape of a girl. Because Oreki saw the state after growing up, Hashinomi Ya like this gave him the feeling of Kushida-sen. After all, it is the plus version, so it looks quite familiar. Hashinomi Yachie-san Oreki-san said. This is a rather unnatural statement. Because the other person used to be Hashinomi Yachie's teacher, but now she has become a classmate. So Oreki didn't react for a while. It's really annoying, but Hashinomi Yachie was not like that. Obviously, you always called me Zhiwi before, but now I have become so alienated /. Is it? But Oreki-san will not be fooled. Since this is the plus version of Kushida-san, it should be more artificial and deceptive. Only. But Star Palace seemed to sigh. This month's special exam will be announced tomorrow. A little nervous. After all, our current class evaluation score is only 340 points away from Class A. Is it? Oreki-san and the others have arrived on the first floor. Unlike Oreki's class, the class rankings were announced in the public area on the first floor of the student building. Which is like this. Grade 3 Class A 1135 points. Grade 3 Class B 795 points. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 616. Grade 3 Class C 450 points. 300 points for Class D, Grade 3. It's a bit poor in terms of points. Moreover, there are only more than 50,000 points in Oreki's personal account. He had never had such a small amount of personal points. But this also shows two things: either the competition is very fierce, or, these students are probably more traditional, and they are not very flexible in cheating their peers, nor are they able to cheat senior students, let alone will not brush the school wool. So it looks quite pitiful. This made Oreki-san sigh a little. Because I thought the students were all high-end versions, but their techniques were all low-end versions. It is estimated that arranging a dragon garden can turn this place upside down. But I think our class will be able to achieve our goals if we work hard all the way, Oreki said. Yeah, Hashinomi Yachie nodded. I think so too. But when she turned her head slightly, she seemed to curl her lips in disdain. Oreki. This Hashinomi Ya seems to be better than Kushida-san in some aspects, but in some aspects he seems to be inferior. For example, in terms of acting, he is not as natural and mature as Kushida-san. But Hashinomi Ya classmate suddenly added when they were about to separate in the lobby on the first floor. No matter what exam it is, Oreki-kun, you are not allowed to betray me. Otherwise, if my true side is revealed. Okay. Does this happen to you too? It seems that Hashinomi Ya is indeed the plus version of Kushida-san. In this way, Hashinomi Yachie probably didn't like him, so she left directly, heading towards the shopping street. But for Oreki-san, this school is obviously very familiar, but it still feels fresh. And just now the Star Palace also said that the exam will not be announced until tomorrow. So today, I guess I have some free time. So is it possible to encounter Chibashira by chance? After all, this mission only appeared after meeting her, so Oreki-san felt that the mission required to assist Class B in completing this exam, which was probably to assist Chibashira in completing the assessment. Think so? Oreki walked to a familiar place. By the lake, at the railing. The place is where it was 9 years ago, but the lake doesn't feel like it has changed at all. Only. Originally, he just came to this familiar place by chance, but Oreki saw a girl with beautiful long black hair putting her hands on the railing, and looking forward with golden pupils. And this is Horikita Suzune. No. Not Horikita-san. It's Chibashira-sensei. It's just that when she was a girl, she gave him a strong feeling of Horikita-san. However, it seems that Horikita-san has not softened yet. Because she seemed to be thinking about something and fell into her own emotions, then sighed softly, and then quickly cheered up. If you have something on your mind, it would be better to talk it out or find someone to talk to. Oreki-san stepped forward and said. Chibashira. Oreki. Do you think we can be promoted to Class A? The girl Chibashira said. We have come a long way and this is the only thing missing. I don't think it is a good thing to back down at this time, Oreki-san said. According to the experience that has been collected, Chibashira failed this time. And the school will not agree that Class D will graduate on behalf of Class A. At the same time, Chibashira even became obsessed with it, and then even failed the exam because of it, and finally missed Class A. So Oreki felt that he had come to an extraordinary era. But the results are also obvious. Because, as for the exam, according to the news we have received, it was a failure. Then he must be the one cooperating to promote failure in the exam. This is really a cruel task. But, and gain the ability to travel through time as a reward. So, Oreki's dark green eyes stared at Chibashira's profile. Unfortunately, Chibashira-sensei. If I choose between Kosake Anagi and you, I will hurt you. Then it can only hurt you. Oreki-san wants to protect the people he values and cares about. Although this is excessive, he will implement it. Just thinking about this cruel fact, teacher Chibashira seems to be in a very tangled state now. So he kindly explained it. The current Chibashira is the plus version of Horikita Suzune. Then all we have to do is deal with Chibashira in the same way as Horikita Suzune. Would you like to shake your hand? Oreki-san said. Chibashira was originally a little sad and a little scared as he faced the special exam. Results now. Shake hands. I'm sorry, Chibashira said, I still feel that I have to take the exam seriously, and now I'm still a student. I don't want to fall in love. It's better to say that I don't have the time and attention to focus on the topic of love. Oreki. No. He didn't mean it. By the way, are you girls like this? As long as a boy asks for some contact, he will confess to you by default. And this kind of thing. And Oreki stared at Chibashira. Indeed. Girls' Generation's teacher Chibashira not only has the same temperament as Horikita Suzune from the beginning. At the same time, it seems that the appearance is not bad either. Rather say. She seems to be the class beauty of this year. Moreover, the golden pupils, the slightly heroic eyes, and the slight fear of the upcoming exam were just revealed. Full of contrasts and uniqueness. So, as expected, Chibashira-sensei is very suitable for wearing a maid outfit. Obviously he was given a rejection card, but Oreki-san was also thinking about the other party's failure. I just want to say Oreki-san decided to use Sake Anagi-san's words. When people are lost and have no backbone, if they can gain warmth and strength through skin contact, they will have the firm determination to continue on. So, I want to pass on the power to you, Oreki said. Chibashira. What you said is really strange. If others heard it, they might think you were confessing your love, the girl Chibashira said. But you can come to this place, Oreki-san, you are quite capable, the girl Chibashira said. It's very secluded here. I came here with Hashinomi Ya-san, Oreki-san said. I saw her here once before. Then there is no other way. Chia's emotions are difficult to control, so sometimes she needs to vent, but the girl Chibashira said. So please don't tell others about her performance. Is it? By the way, you know what your best friend is like. It's just or because of this that we can become best friends. Because friends know each other's true side, and then choose to treat each other as friends. So during Oreki's time, Hashinomiya's emotions also collapsed when facing Chibashira. Chibashira is obsessed with her past promotion failure, while Hashinomiya is obsessed with Chibashira actually giving up on her. What a mixed emotion. So along the way, are you afraid of tomorrow's exam? Oreki said. The weather is approaching graduation time. In other words, maybe this is the only time I can catch up with promotion in the special exam next month. I don't want to admit it, the girl Chibashira said. But I am indeed a little scared. We're about to reach the finish line, but it's strange to feel discouraged at this moment. Chibashira seemed to have taken in what Oreki-san just said. Get ready to start talking to someone. After all, tomorrow is the time when an important exam is announced. If you get discouraged at this time, you will definitely not be able to deal with tomorrow's exam completely calmly. You don't have enough confidence, however, Oreki-san said. So, let's hold hands. I pass on my power to you. The girl Chibashira. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 617. The girl Chibashira. Okay, although he felt that there was something wrong with Oreki-san's words, he had at least seen Chia's true face. So the girl Chibashira decided to take 2 steps back. Then she held out her hand. Oreki-san also extended his hand. In fact, when Oreki-san reached out his hand, the girl Chibashira noticed it. Her golden eyes stared at Oreki-san. Watch his face, his dark green pupils, and his slightly sexy neck that opens his collar. No matter how you look at him, he is a handsome guy. By the way, Oreki-san, why is your presence so low? Said the young girl Chibashira at this time. Oreki-san looked at her in confusion. That's it, your fingers are beautiful, the girl Chibashira said. And his looks aren't bad either. Is it? Since it was a compliment, Oreki-san accepted it for now. So you are obviously very eye-catching, but why is your presence so low? The girl Chibashira said. That's it? Because this is the arrangement of the system. Oreki-san is not a student of this era or third-year class B. I'm just here to help. Then shake hands, Oreki-san said. The girl Chibashira. I just felt like I couldn't fall in love. Everything was focused on getting promoted to Class A. After all, we worked hard together and we can't give up here now. However, the girl Chibashira suddenly realized that this boy seemed to be a super handsome guy. Chibashira felt that he couldn't be distracted, so he shook hands with the other party. And this moment, a sense of inner transparency bloomed instantly. P.S. Still missing 10,000. Hateful. Very sleepy. I also went to Don't Buy Junk Dragon, which costs 16k. The internet was disconnected more than a dozen times a day, and I really wanted to return it. There are also books written by the boss under Pi. Am I not worthy of being a star? Yes, yes. Is Sushwetter, the star with Jade syndrome, totally ruined after owing 50 million to her agency? You have nothing to do every day, so you just communicate with fans on Weibo. Not only on Weibo, but also on live broadcasts, you can get scolded. Stop talking, be careful she comes along the network cable and beats you up. Hitting someone? Really or not? Next time Sushwetter broadcasts live, I have to question her and see if she can come and beat me up. In the Magic City, Sushwetter released her magical girl transformation, left the backstage rest area, and happily scrolled through her Weibo to the set of the variety show. There are no surprises, #beats people, how can she deserve to be a star? The topic hashtag is on the hot search again. Seeing the photo of the keyboard warrior with a bruised nose and swollen face, Sushwar decisively liked and commented, "Ah, yes, yes." The comment section exploded instantly. Too arrogant. But isn't Sushwar filming a variety show in Magic City? Why did she go to Tianhe City to beat people? Chapter 290 The assessment 9 years ago. Everyone dropped out unanimously. Only one step away from Class A. The girl Chibashiro was originally a little afraid of tomorrow's exam. But now, I found, a completely different feeling that I had never experienced before. It was a moment of transparency, a moment of clarity of thinking, and a moment of feeling warmth in the body. This is an extremely novel experience. She has never felt this way, but she is a girl after all, and she is not as friendless as Horikita Susan was at the beginning. You can also have endless conversations with girls. So, some girls are in love, but they often complain and complain. Express. It doesn't have the romantic feel of a novel. The so-called feeling of love seems to make people feel that the whole person is sorry. And now, the girl Chibashira obviously felt that she had no desire in this regard, but, now she seems to be experiencing it. Such an incredible feeling. At this time, Oreki-san had already let go of her hand. "How is it? Do you feel the power?" Oreki-san asked. The girl Chibashira. What should I say at this time? Does it mean that what she feels is not power, but something else? And that kind of thing might cause trouble to her. Although it's very quiet here, if the wind blows all the time, your body will be damaged, Oreki-san said. The girl Chibashira. I'm going back probably because his mood became complicated. Chibashira left here. And Oreki stared at her back. Because he met the girl Chibashira and comforted her a little. Oreki-san went directly to the cafeteria. It makes no sense not to eat at this time. But he discovered a unique place. That is, the food in the cafeteria 9 years ago seemed to be better, and the prices were lower. So the points in hand now are enough. But Oreki was only here for 3 days. So of course there is no need to save more than 50,000 personal points. So he ordered an expensive meal. Isn't this Oreki? However, the roommate in front of him, Midorita-san, also came to the cafeteria, followed by a boy. I don't know Oreki, but he is probably a classmate. And now there is a meal worth 3,000 personal points on Oreki-san's table. It's a bit of a luxury for students with only 50,000 private points. So might I be stared at or ridiculed by classmates in the class? But it doesn't have the same atmosphere as Class D. It seems that the configuration of this D class is still acceptable. Only students from Class B are actually so willing to spend money, came a voice. Okay. Oreki-san stared at this tall, thin boy wearing glasses. Do you have any opinions on the board? Oreki said. The board here should be the number on the board, which is the head teacher of Long Yuan class. According to the information obtained previously, the head teachers of the 4 classes are all from the same period. Hoshinonomiya and Chibashiro were promoted from Class D, while DG and Mr. Majima were both students from Class A. Now, although Oreki's presence is not high, he is still a student of Class B, which puts pressure on Class A. So now I am being ridiculed by the younger version of the teacher on the board? Although he is not as good at memorizing notebooks as Kosake Anagi, Mr. Ben, if you are cheated by a woman in the future, you probably deserve it. After all, the attitude is not good. And arrogant people can easily suffer losses. On the board, you have the appearance of a girl, Oreki-san said. The digital figures on the board frowned. I don't even have a girlfriend. What do you mean? Don't think that there will be a special exam tomorrow and you, Class B, will be able to catch up. Board, stop talking at this time, a voice came. The other party's voice was very deep, and at the same time, It made Oreki feel a little familiar. And this voice, this person. Oreki recognized it immediately. This is Majima, the teacher in his class. Oreki. Obviously the system has set him up to have a weak sense of presence, but now look, why all the key people are here. And Mashima-sensei gave Oreki the feeling of Katsuragi-san. And the board, it turns out to be Tatsuka Yahiko's version. I apologize for being reckless on the board, Majima said. However, we are students in Class A. We were, are, and will be in the future. So our class won't let anything go in tomorrow's exam. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 618. And this young teacher Mashima directly declared war on Oreki, Midorita-san, and that passerby classmate. It looks menacing, but Midorita-san didn't have much reaction. It would be better to say that he is an advanced version of Hirata-san. Both character and insight are stronger. Moreover, there is a high probability that there is no dark history. It was 9 years ago, so for the school, it was the students of the previous 9th class, and the sample selection was not as exaggerated as Oreki-san and his class. But it is confirmed. Even 9 years ago, class competition and class rivalry were fierce. I think it's best to do your best, Oreki-san said. After all, it's been a long journey. Yeah, Midorita-san nodded. However, a classmate saw you talking to Hoshinomiya. Could it be that something happened? It seems that in Class B, the girl Chibashira and Hoshinomiya are both quite popular people. When Midoriya said this, the passers-by were a little envious. But okay. You don't need to pay attention to this aspect of Midorita-san. As a class representative, you should think more about and participate in class confrontations. Because I met the main personnel. Then Oreki-san walked around the school again. The school area is slightly smaller than in Oreki's time, and there are 2 teaching buildings that may have been built later. However, overall, the students' mental outlook is much better than that of their previous class. He looks like a second grader, not a salty fish. However, the student council president is not as good as Horikita-san and Kosake Anakia. It seems that there is no sense of awe-inspiring reality and effective decision-making. In this way, treating it purely as a fun activity, Oreki-san walked around the school. Then the next day, the normal special examination begins. This is the beginning of the special exam that Oreki-san needs to complete unanimously. But before going to bed, Midorita-san, because he is a roommate, Oreki can talk to him even late at night. It has been confirmed that this Class B is centered around Midorita-san and is working hard. The quality of this Class D is completely different from the current Class D. As for tomorrow's exam, what questions do you think there will be? Oreki-san said. Ask me. Midorita-san had already rested at this point, so no other students came to him. But now his roommate is looking for him. Special exams. We have passed many special exams along the way. As for the test questions, I have no other ideas, only one purpose. That is, we cannot let everyone's efforts over the past 3 years go to waste. To this end, I am willing to dedicate everything, Midorita said firmly. Then what if there is a test that requires you to drop out of school? Oreki-san continued. Do I have to drop out of school? Midorita seemed to pause for a moment. Our class has gone all the way without a single student dropping out. Everyone has worked hard. But his tone was firm. If there is going to be an exam that requires someone to drop out of school, Midorita said, I will probably choose to drop out of school on my own. And when he said this, Oreki-san looked over. I found that there was only determination in his eyes. So it's almost confirmed. This Midorita classmate was probably the reason why Chibashira kept objecting to his dropping out of school. It must be that during the unanimous exam, just like Oreki's class, there was a move to drop out a friend in exchange for points. and Midorita is the backbone of the class. If such a backbone were to drop out of school, a serious person like Shibashiro would definitely not agree. So, isn't everything going according to the original direction? Then he comes here. That's how it should be. Think so. Oreki-san looked at the progress of system tasks. When faced with a choice in the special examination, everyone unanimously chose the exam. Task requirement: assist Class B of the 3rd grade in completing the unanimous exam. Currently remaining time, 2.5 days. Progress, 10%. It seems the mission is correct. In this way. The next day, Oreki-san and Midorita came to class together. Because Midorita-san was there, Oreki-san quickly found his seat. The location is exactly the same as the current seat, and the system is also thoughtful. But the head teacher is a female teacher. Wearing glasses, he looks majestic, and to be more specific, he looks a bit like the female version of Manabu Horikita. Today is the normal class meeting, and then we will announce this month's special exam. You are already 3rd graders and are about to graduate, so the special exams this month and the next month will be the key battles that ultimately determine whether you can be promoted to Class A. With that said, the class teacher named Ogura continued. Then the announcement of the exam rules began. This time the exam name was chosen by unanimous vote. Along with the class teacher's explanation, the written version of the rules was also distributed. This code number: classmate. Unanimous special exam summary. Rule description. Other topics proposed by the school, all classmates vote for the options that have been prepared. There are a total of 5 questions, with a maximum of 4 options. As long as there is no unanimous vote for one of the options, the same topic will be repeated. If the time runs out during the project, no matter how far the project is progressed, the project will be considered failed by default. Topics that reach unanimous approval will be actually recognized regardless of success or failure in the special exam. Complete all the topics set by the school to get a class evaluation score of 100 points. If you are unable to complete all tasks within 3 hours, you will lose 200 class evaluation points. Special examination process. The school proposes a topic and conducts the first vote, within 60 seconds. If consensus is reached, move to the next topic and proceed to. If they are inconsistent, go to 10-minute intermission, only in the classroom, during which you can move freely and discuss with each other. 60 seconds of voting time, cannot discuss with each other, can only vote. Students who do not vote within 60 seconds will suffer cumulative penalties. If the accumulated punishment exceeds 90 seconds, you will be dismissed from school at this stage. Announce the voting results. If unanimous agreement is reached, move to the next topic and proceed to. If consensus cannot be reached, return to. The rules may seem complicated, but they are almost exactly the same as Oreki and his friend's previous session. The only difference is probably that you will be rewarded for completing all the tasks, but you will not be deducted for failing to complete them. And now, the exam is scheduled for the afternoon. All afternoon classes are cancelled. So all you have is now and a lunch break to think about it. I can't tell you the content of the topic, but I can tell you examples. The head teacher, Mr. Ogura, said. Then he turned on the projector and put the information on it. This was 9 years ago, and there was no direct use of touch screens. But it was a well-known school after all, and the equipment was the latest at the time. So there is a projector. And an example question is displayed there. Example O will lose 5 class points, but the entire class will gain 10,000 individual points. Options for and against. The topic is displayed on the projector. The content is exactly the same as the sample questions of the special exam that Oreki-san participated in. It seems that not only the code of conduct test at the beginning of admission but also the written test with old questions in the second month are the same. A number of other exams have survived as well. You should have some ideas about the sample questions, but during the official exam, private conversations are prohibited before the first vote. In other words, first of all, you must purely face the topic and vote, Teacher Ogura said. Small slips of paper will be distributed to you at that time. You can fill in the answer to this example question. Then another teacher will summarize it. Although the test questions seem to be the same. But, obviously, it is not as convenient as it was in Oreki-san's time. But none of the classmates in the class had any objections. Instead, he looked at the second example question curiously. Yes. The second example is very fascinating. Because that's the case. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 619. Example 2. Give one person in the class 1 million personal points. If the whole audience agrees unanimously, the students to be awarded points need to be designated and voted. Agree against. This is an incredible example. Teacher, the girl Chibashira raised her hand and said. Are all the sample questions in the exam fulfilled? One of the rules of the exam is that for topics that are unanimously approved, regardless of success or failure in the special exam, it will be actually recognized. In other words, if everyone's votes are unanimous, then the school will make this example question a reality. So now this example question can be taken seriously. Give a student 1 million points. Oreki. For Oreki, the personal point cards he used to show off Kosake and Aga were all worth 10 million. He really couldn't stand $1 million. However, students during this period are relatively simple, so 1 million is a lot for everyone. I can't tell you the specific test questions, Teacher Ogura said. But it might also be a reward like a sample question. Isn't that great? The students were a little excited. Now they are about to graduate, and they were told by the school that if there are any remaining private points when they graduate, the school will exchange them for cash according to a certain ratio. Therefore, if you get a reward of 1 million private points, even if the school exchanges it, there will be losses such as interest rates. But it's a lot of money, isn't it? Ahem, Teacher Ogura pretended to cough twice. Do you still want to look at the examples? In other words, I plan to familiarize everyone with the process first and conduct a mock rehearsal to avoid being in a hurry during the afternoon exam. Want? But the students became excited. But at this moment, a voice sounded. Then, since the answer is chosen unanimously by everyone, it will be implemented by the school. Since there is a reward of 1 million points. So are there any examples where someone must be forced to drop out of school? The student said. And almost instantly, all the students' excited expressions shrank. Rather, I was poured cold water on him. Yes. I have been in this school for almost 3 years and have passed many special examinations. The school agrees that there are rewards as well as punishments. And now, what if the whole audience unanimously demands that a student be expelled? This kind of thing. Teacher Ogura. Teacher Ogura quickly looked at the student who was speaking. The other person has short black hair and dark green pupils. The expression is a little lazy, but it is undeniable that the other party has a good skin. And this is a student with a weak sense of presence in the class. As for the name, Ogura remembered that the other party was Oreki Houtarou. But her eyes were a little flustered. Because she almost thought the questions had been leaked before the exam even started. Because this special exam is very important. Then there is the final choice. Once you make the correct choice, you will be rewarded with a class rating score of up to 300 points. Maybe you can really succeed in Class A. P.S. I suddenly feel that Oreki-san is a big liar. 5k left. Do my best. In addition, Pi the book on the same subject. It seems that because that book is too cheap, the author also opened up the theme of the great teacher, adding another member to the Hachiman universe. Summary: after 3 weeks of recovery in the hospital due to a car accident, Hakigaya Hachiman thought he had missed the opportunity to integrate into the class. But he was sent a special recommendation letter by the principal. It was suggested that he go to Tokyo Advanced Education High School, which only opened in May. With the goal of not being isolated and being asked by his sister to find friends, Hachiman has no hesitation. So I finally got a friend. Kuruzawa Megami, then, you become my host. So it's normal to have more contact. Sakayanagi Yuzu, you seem to be troubled by being an ordinary person. I have a reliable next generation here, which is definitely a genius plan. Horikita Suzun, I tried making a bento yesterday, if you don't mind. Kusita Kikyo, Black, I know so many of your secrets, and you have caught mine. It seems that we have to be tied together. Komaki, Ani-I-chan, this doesn't seem like a friend. The Great Teacher's Strength First Classroom. Chapter 291, the plan for passing this exam. And the role of support. I have to say that Oreki-san brought up a special topic. That's because the sample questions on the exam actually unanimously specify that one student can obtain 1 million private points. Looks like sudden wealth. So is there anything scary? For example, punishment for dropping out of school. The current Class B has worked hard all the way and no one has been reduced. But there are already attrition in other classes. Although there are not many reductions. However, after working hard to this point, doesn't it seem too cruel to face such an exam? Oreki-san Midorita-san said at this time. Please don't talk about such horrible things. And there's no need to panic, Midorita said. If I have to drop out of school, I will choose to drop out. Like a heartwarming force, Midorita-san, the class representative, comforts the students in the class just like Hirata-kun. He is the glue of the class. And then he's also very responsible. Only. Midorita-san, what are you talking about? Hashinomi Yachiye stood up and said. What will we do if you drop out? In other words, Hashinomi Yachiye actually disagrees with Midorita-san, the class representative, withdrawing from school. Yes. Even though this exam is over, there are still 2 special exams. And if there is no class representative as the leader, will others take the lead? Therefore, the statement of the Palace of Stars is reasonable. But something went wrong with this. Because according to the history that Oreki knew, it was Chibashira who had always been against the representative dropping out of school, and was then resented by the whole class. Even Hashinomi Yachiye was obsessed with the union of resentment. But now, this behavior is reversed. Why is Hashinomi Yachiye opposed? Oreki. Is that the reason? Creatures like girls can deceive others. Oreki felt the need to observe. In this way. Because Midorita-san took the initiative and made a move to let everyone choose him if he wanted to drop out of school. Then. The example continues. It is also a simulation. This example is much simpler. Example 3, if there is a cultural festival, what project will you choose? Haunted house, maid cafe, chow mein stall. Probably let the students conduct mock voting. After the examples came out, several small slips of paper were distributed to each person. Then write down the answer in 60 seconds. Then cover the note and put it aside, and then the teacher will come over to collect it for statistics. However, during the formal exam in the afternoon, another invigilator will be arranged to assist in collection. In this way, after simulating it twice, the students got used to it. And the teacher finished explaining the rules and gave time and space to the students. Students are also allowed to discuss freely. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 620. However, there are classes in the morning, so the time that can be discussed now is the current class meeting, as well as the time after class and lunch break. But Oreki-san. The students were given the freedom to discuss and move around freely, and some students walked towards Oreki-san. Oreki. It's Hashinomi Yachie. Is what you just said true? Hashinomi Yachie said. If there is a topic in the exam that specifies a student to drop out of school. If you think so, Hashinomi Yachie said. Then can I ask you to drop out of school? It would be a pity if it was Midorita-san who dropped out. Oh. Then you are terrible. Or that you're saying something terrible. What does it mean that it would be a pity for Midorita-san to drop out of school, but is it okay for him to drop out? Although he doesn't keep a notebook like Kosake and Akio. But Oreki felt that he could make a note of it now. Hashinomi Yachie was not as good as his Kushida-san, so Oreki retracted his comment that he was a plus version. But I don't think it's necessary to do this at this time, a female voice came over. This is Chibashira in her teenage years. Because everyone has worked hard all the way, and then they randomly decide who should drop out of school, or who is important and who is not. Don't you think this is very unreasonable? Chibashira said. Hashinomi Yachie was puzzled and tilted her head slightly. Because she had just come here because she was actually thinking about what Oreki would do if a classmate was asked to withdraw unanimously from the class. So in order to cope with the worst situation, it is the best plan to choose a classmate as a backup to drop out of school. But Chibashira, aren't you on her side? How can I help Oreki? And it's not necessarily that Oreki-san is going to drop out of school, he's just going to be a backup. Didn't you see that everyone looked over because of her words? And this is actually a hint. If it really comes to that point, then Oreki-san, who is currently hinted to have a very low sense of existence, will be sacrificed. After all, people are selfish. As long as you can go to Class A and the price is a classmate, as long as it's not you, then that's fine. So now it's just the last step, and I'm about to rush to Class A. Hashinomi Yachie is also full of fighting ability. Wait a minute, at this time, Midorita-san's voice came. So, Hashinomi Ya-san, don't say this again, okay? We are all friends, and if I have to drop out, I will drop out. Midorita, your classmate, noticed the situation here, and hurriedly came over to comfort you. At the same time, he looked at Oreki helplessly. Because the question that Oreki-san asked Mr. Ogura was the same question that was asked to him last night. And he has already given the answer, so, what else is there to worry about? After all, even though I have gone through many exams, and now, how can I take such a demanding exam? If the whole class unanimously withdraws a classmate, this kind of thing will become a psychological burden for everyone. And even if you sacrifice your classmates and get promoted, you will still feel guilty in your heart. And this guilt may affect you in the future. Therefore, this kind of behavior and test questions are unwise. Well, I just thought about this possibility for a while and thought it was very dangerous. Hashinomi Yachie then showed a cute expression. I'm sorry, Oreki-san. Oreki. And can this kind of thing be handled by sorry? I accept the apology, but is the punishment acceptable? Oreki-san said. Hashinomi Ya-san, the classmate who just dropped out unanimously was just a guess on my part. So Oreki said. Can I ask you to be the student who drops out of school for everyone's sake? Hashinomi Yachie-kun, Oreki said. Almost instantly, Hashinomi Yachie looked over. She found that she had always underestimated this classmate who seemed to have a low sense of presence. Because this does not mean that the sense of presence is extremely low. It is obviously extremely powerful and super powerful. I hate it, I hate this kind of exam, Hashinomi Yachiye said quickly. Then she showed a cute and coquettish expression. That's right, Sae-chan, I don't want to drop out of school. Don't worry, the girl Chibashira said. I won't let you drop out of school either. Yeah, we all worked hard together, and of course we will graduate together, Hashinomi Yachiye said. Because of the disruption of the Star Palace, the tense atmosphere among the students in the class eased slightly. In this way, lunch break is over. By the afternoon, all the students gathered in the class. Then they discovered that Mr. Ogura and the assistant invigilator had arrived. Hand over your cell phones now. Looks quite formal. All the students did so. But before the formal exam, you have 10 minutes to sort out your emotions. Everyone remained silent. Because everyone knows that now there is only 1 plus 2 or 3 special examinations left before the final graduation. And now they are still 340 points behind Class A. In this exam, if everyone in the room unanimously completes the exam requirements, then 100 points will be added to the class evaluation score. At the same time, if it is not completed, 200 points will be deducted. So, that is to say, if luck is overwhelming and they get 100 points, then Class A is deducted 200 points for not completing the exam. So wouldn't it be possible to reduce the distance by 300 points at once? It's just one step to reach the sky. So with such a beautiful idea in mind, the classmates in the class are already in place. So, Teacher Ogura said after confiscating the mobile phone. Third graders, everyone unanimously chooses to take the exam, now it's officially started. Please look at the topic. The projector came in handy again. You have 60 seconds to answer. If the answers are consistent, you will jump to the next question. It should be noted that once the consensus is reached, the school will fulfill its promise and turn your consensus into reality. So you need to be careful. At the same time, if the whole game cannot be unanimous, then there will be a 10-minute intermission and then continue, and the cycle will continue. The total exam time is 3 hours. If you need to go to the toilet, please hurry up, if not then the exam is about to start. Ogura-sensei is somewhat scripted. But everyone in the class is trying hard to stay calm. Then, finally, when the slideshow opened, the first topic appeared on the screen. Topic O will lose 5 class points, but the entire class will gain 10,000 individual points. Options for and against. Such an option appears on the projector. And this point made the students think that Teacher Ogura had put the wrong paper. Because this is not the content of the example? Then start the answer, the 60-second countdown, Teacher Ogura said. Only then did the students wake up from their dreams. Start grabbing the pen, purchase and answer quickly. The 60 seconds are over at this time. The proctor came out from behind and began to collect the small notes from the students. 0 people are in favor and 40 people are against it. Reach the unanimous choice and start the next question. Ogura-sensei announced. And this is the first question I won at the beginning. And the students did not waver at the 10,000 points. After all, for them now, the most important thing is to get enough class evaluation points to enter Class A. Any personal points are definitely not as important as this. But it does show a strong desire to hit A. As head teachers, teachers are also based on strength. Therefore, Teacher Ogura is also very pleased that the students in the class are so brave. Because maybe she, the teacher of Class D, would be flown to Class A because of her classmates.